It's the Disc Golf Show. I'm aggressive in the new year because it is the new year. I'm turning a new leaf. Maybe not. Today is going to be episode number 1 of season 2025. I think that's how we're going to do the seasons, and we're going to stick with it. That's our New Year's resolution, to change the season number. And we've done it. We can all go home now. Today's the 14th of January, 2025. My name is Justin. With me today is that guy sitting
Nick.
somewhere. Him. Nailed it. Nailed it. He nails the intros. You can't,
Every time.
You can't deny that.
So good.
Can't deny that. This show is brought to you, at least in part, for this whole year, and probably going forward, by Final Nine Sports with their 2 locations, one in Orangeville, one in Rockland. You can't stop in there. Support your local pro shop, because that's what it's all about. Today we have a fantastic show, which was brought down in energy and in mood by Nick, reminding us that today is the very first ratings update day of the new year, and he had to remind me of my rating. So for my foul mood for the rest of the show, you can blame him. Take it away, Nick.
All right. Well, let's change that mood a little bit, all right? We'll bump it up really quick here by stating that if you have not yet heard or have not yet done so, currently the World Games is having their Athlete of the Year awards. And
They are.
At this moment in time, Kristin Lott is in 4th place right now. So there will be a link in the notes below. If you are listening to us, you can go to theworldgames.org.
The disc golfer, formerly known as Tattar. I feel like we have to say that. I don't know.
You can go to
Maybe we don't.
theworldgames.org, look up awards, and then you'll find the Athlete of the Year stuff. You have to vote for 2, otherwise your vote will not get counted. So vote
I
for 2.
figured that out this morning.
Yeah.
When I did my vote.
Yeah.
They come up with a little pop-up, but it's really easy to miss. If you don't click for a second vote, for your secondary pick, it will not count. So make sure you do that.
Yeah.
Especially for Kristin.
She's got a decent lead over 5th place, but she is a little bit behind.
6501.
She's a
as
little
of
bit
this
behind
recording.
3rd. She's over 10,000 behind 1st. So
Yep.
That's,
Yep. So, I mean, if
What do you-
everybody that played disc golf went in and voted right now, she'd have 6,602. So,
killing it.
comparatively, if you look at I'm making a joke because look at 1st place.
Yeah.
She's got a ways to go.
Yeah. But you do your part.
Ways to go.
Go vote.
Absolutely. Doesn't mean you shouldn't. It means you
voting
should.
does close on the 31st, and halfway elimination will actually be on the 22nd, so the top 10 will advance. But again, theworldgames.org or the link below. Did want to make another shout out to our friends up north. So last year it was called the RIP, I believe. They changed their name. It is called the Canadian Championships. The registration for that does open February 2nd. The event is held in September, so obviously they're getting ahead of the game here. The location for the main event is Haute Goat Farm. I think that's how it's spelled or pronounced. Haute Goat Farm. It is a 3-day
I prefer
event.
to think of it
What's
said
that?
like hot. Like Paris Hilton.
Like that's hot. Yeah. Probably something like that.
That's how I think about it every time I read it. Hot Goat Farm.
3-day event, 54 holes. There are 3 other courses involved. One in Newcastle, one in Cedar Creek, and one Project 15. They did say that if you are interested in reaching out for sponsorship, just go ahead and contact them. And if you want to support that event. So we do our part in trying to help those who contact us about their events. So go check them out. If you are able to get up there to play, again, registration opens February 2nd. So you will have time. So go check them
You're
out.
picking up on my aggression vibes, aren't you?
Yeah, go do it.
They're aggressive.
Because I told you to.
Yeah. That's right.
Moving on. We have some announcements, and then we'll get to the bulk of the show, I guess. With all this movement that's been happening, we'll get there. Hold on. First off, Prodigy has recently announced a partnership with UltiF Innovations LLC, also known as the UFI, a home of the professional frisbee and provider of the official disc of the Ultimate Frisbee Association. So shout out to Prodigy. They're doing things. And if you have not watched it yet, I recently saw the interview with Will Schusterick, the one and only, on Tour Life. Very informative. Kind of get a aspect or an idea of where he's coming from now that he is CEO of Prodigy.
I'm kind of excited about that. I think
I am too.
Prodigy kind of needs like this refreshing, if you will.
Yeah.
Just because of kind of, I mean, let's face it, the image of the company isn't as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
With a lot of different things that have been kind of negative. I mean, it's not terrible. Nobody's like, F Prodigy. I mean, well, there probably is, but not a lot of people, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it needs a little bit of freshening up and maybe some pull in a different direction, maybe. And I think Will is going to do that. I mean, he has the best interest, obviously, for the company. He's been with Prodigy forever.
Yeah.
But I think he can do it. You know what I mean?
And
so I think it's going to be a really good move overall for them.
And
or it was.
We're going to get our hands on some plastic from Prodigy.
Oh.
So we got some coming.
Try it out.
So we're gonna check out if there's any, see what they're trying to dial in on, the aspects that they're trying to improve with Prodigy.
We'll be looking at that flashing Prodigy.
Yeah, that's what I kind of said to Will when I was talking about emailing him. We're going to get our hands on some and see if there are still any issues with quality. I don't see that. If there happen to be, I'm sure those will get taken care of right away because that's kind of the biggest issue, right?
It's one of them.
I do look forward to getting our hands on those, so more of that to come. Actually, before I move on to the next thing, seeing as how we're talking about Prodigy, I'm going to jump the gun here on a question for you. Do you feel Prodigy has the best track record in recruiting the next up-and-comer? It seems like several top players who started with Prodigy but then moved on once they started winning big. I think there's something to that where there are those prospects and those what do you call it in baseball? Scouts. They've got to have good scouts because it seems like there have been many big names that have won big at Prodigy and then get swooped up, right? So whether you like it or not, they know or they have a good idea of who has potential. But what do you think about that? Who else has that kind of track record?
True. And that is the thing, right? And it could be a couple of different things that's leading to that. And will we know? Probably not, unless somebody's spilling the tea, as the kids say. But maybe it's the company's focus, right? Maybe that's on purpose, right? That's their kind of game plan and business plan kind of going into it, right? There's nothing wrong with being like a stepping stone sponsor, right?
Not at all.
You start off with Prodigy and then you go to this company, right? And that's fine. And maybe that works for the overall company kind of plan, right? Like, hey, look, this is kind of the direction that we want to go. We want to attract in these players. And then once they get to a certain point, that's fine. We let them go, right? And we bring on the whole, a new round of fresh sponsorships in that way, right? And that's fine, right? And if that's kind of how they're going, great. It's working well. But I hesitate to say that because of... And I don't know if it's just perception has been kind of pushed that way because of some of the things that have gone on, but it seems like the players are moving on once they reach a certain point, not because they're just done, no matter what they say, right? It doesn't seem like they're just done with Prodigy and they're ready to move on to other things. It's they're done with Prodigy for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? Is that they're not competitive and they're not willing to offer that, right? And that doesn't sound like that's because that's part of their business plan. However it may be, we don't know, right? So I guess that all to say, yes, it doesn't have, I think, the best track record, or maybe it does. It just depends on what they're trying to do. And I think maybe that's an opportunity, if that is the case, right? For Will to come out and say, hey, well, this is kind of the alignment of the company, and this is our focus, right? Is we're more concerned with getting in that new fresh talent and helping them grow so that they can move on to these other places in the future. And that's kind of how we're doing it, right? We're more kind of new talent focused, right? That's not to say that we don't want maybe some of the upper tier. That's great, but we're more focused around cultivating that new talent, and that's not a bad way to go, and maybe something for them to clarify. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
One of the things he did notate was that, speaking about movement, was when it came to the fact of Isaac Robinson, he goes, we put together the best package we could do. And they're going to have limitations. They're not the biggest manufacturer out there. They've been around a long time, but they have their own limitations when it comes to different aspects in the sport, right?
Yeah. There's a budget.
So
right, and there's ROI.
Exactly. So I think that, yeah, the one thing they have going against them is probably what they're available to offer, what they have available to offer, and you can't you can't do anything to change that when it comes to that issue. You know what I mean?
No.
But again, the last two people, Burr and Isaac. Like, those are big names, right? Two-time world champ, and Gannon Burr, player of the year. Like, they're doing something right over there, but they just need to do other things right as well, right? So big shout out to Prodigy. Again, we will give you updates on when we get some product in our hands. And shout out to Tour Life as always, because I like watching Tour Life. Another person that's kind of started to put some more content out a little bit is Cat Merch. Cat Merch has been doing a daily ice bath, and if you have not seen, it's not just peachy keen kind of cool. It's snowing. It's thick ice that's built up in the bath. And she's dedicated or planning on doing 30 days straight. She's probably about 10 days in now, I think, somewhere around there.
She was on my team, so I hold a special place in my heart for Cat Merch.
Yeah,
and all the points that got me during my fantasy disc golf league time.
So she's doing her part and trying new things to better her body for the sport, for her abilities and all that stuff. So shout out to her.
They say it's super good for you.
Yeah, so. Right, exactly. I would love to do that, except for I don't want to. So, that makes sense, right? I would love to do that, but I don't want to. So,
I would love to do that, but I really don't want to.
Thanks for doing that for us.
Okay.
Disc Golf Pro Tour recently announced a renewal to their partnership for 2025 with One Shot Energy. Not super crazy news, but it's good to see a company that is willing to stick with it an additional year.
Yeah.
It's not just a touch in and go, no, we didn't like it. They obviously liked something that they saw, and hopefully that grows. So shout out to One Shot.
More of those, too. We need more of those, really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let me take this next one for you, Nick, because it's really appropriate if I cover it. Nick, have a new content creator crush, and I guess that doesn't make sense, does it? Okay. I'll let you take it.
Well, I wasn't going to. I just put it in there, and then you had to just, kick me in front of the bus there.
Well, you took the wind out of my sails this morning before we started, so you're welcome. Big shout out. If you don't follow, I follow a ton of channels on YouTube, right? And I've liked his content since he's joined them, but I just think the most recent video that he did, and I'm not going to get into it because it will
we'll talk about it later, is Jonathan at Latitude 64. Hilarious. So if you don't follow them, go check them out. Obviously, Latitude 64 is one of the trilogy, part of House of Discs. And Jonathan is one of their media guys, so it's super funny. Just wanted to put that out there because literally it was one of those few times that it seems to get fewer and fewer for me where you laugh out loud. You find something funny. Like, on a side note, I'll watch a stand-up comedy show, and my wife will tell me, "Are you enjoying this? You haven't laughed at all." And I go, "Yeah, I think it's funny. It's just not an audible, make me burst out laughing funny, It's
Sure.
entertaining, But
yeah, you find it entertaining, amusing. It's funny,
yeah,
but
Jonathan,
but not absolutely hilarious.
Jonathan
funny.
was funny. It was the way he edited was great too. Because as much as I don't edit, I do a little. Justin does the majority of that stuff, but knowing just as little as I do, what's involved in all that stuff. It's good. Go check it out. Also, somebody who came back, or not also somebody who came back. Somebody who came back to disc golf media is Shoutout here, Murder Mike. If you don't know Murder Mike, just go watch him. Very entertaining. He's been around for a long time. He was back around early teens, 2012, 2013. And he was out at like Fountain Hills videoing. He did a little bit of side coverage. Not funny guy. Go check him out.
Check him out where?
On YouTube, I believe.
There you go.
Instagram. It's not under Murder Mike though. I believe it's under his name. And now, Michael. I'm sorry. I just constantly know you by Murder Mike. I'll make a post and I'll share it on our socials.
Okay.
So shout out to Murder Mike. Cole Radolin just recently did a live. He was at the airport and he said he's still recovering from his injury. He's hoping to be back at Supreme Flight Open, which is the first tour event for DGPT. So hopefully we do see him. He said he did enjoy and is hoping to make more content like the one he did where he was throwing around his house. For that ace shot, 1 shot per day, 2 for the second day, 3 for the third day, that. Hopefully he's feeling better by the time the tour starts. But yeah, he's doing what he can to get back in shape and hopefully be ready for the tour. Did you happen to look it up and find him or no? Oh, you did?
It's under Murder Mike on YouTube.
It is. Okay, sweet. I thought it wasn't. Okay, good. Go check out Murder Mike. Okay. All right, guys, let's get to some changes, some movement. There's been some, stays, some leaves, some backing away from disc golf altogether. But
unless he has a new channel.
What's that? It's a new channel?
Unless he has a new channel.
Oh, sweet.
He might, because the last video was 4 years ago on this one.
Yeah. I think that's when he was, somewhere around then. He may have. Okay. He may be doing it under his own personal channel, but like I said, we'll share it. Don't worry. Actually, He might just happen to possibly make a cameo on our show, maybe in the future.
Oh,
So,
are we just giving out spoilers now? We're just giving out spoilers. All right.
I don't know.
Okay.
You have spoilers?
So what we have planned is
moving on. What are we at? We're talking about moving people, right? Okay.
Yep.
Some people that are staying. We have Alden Harris, who signed for 2025 with Discmania. He's staying there. We have Marweed staying with DGA. Eric Oakley ended up joining up with Birdie Disc Golf Supply Team. Shout out to them. Parker Welk, he ended up actually leaving DGA. And if you haven't seen, he joined up with Dynamic Discs. There's some talk about Dynamic Discs as well as to whether or not Ricky will be there. We have seen some changes on his social media. People have made.
It looks like some of his disc stuff got the Dynamic Disc branding maybe taken off of it. So that's, I think, where
Yeah.
a lot of the speculation comes in.
That would be kind of a out of left field too, because he wasn't a name that was really up there in like, oh, he's going to be doing anything crazy. So I do question a little bit when not even necessarily top players, but players that are very visible in the sport bouncing around from manufacturer to manufacturer. I mean, I get it. You're going to go where what's best for you, whether it's money or vibe or whatever means the most to you for signing. I don't like to see people signing for 1 or 2 years and then bouncing off to somebody else, and then signing for 2 years and bouncing off to somebody else. It's one of those things where it's like almost like a lack of commitment, to where, granted, if you're being treated horribly or not well enough, I get it, and I don't hate it, right? It's just sometimes it's like and again, part of that is not on the player. Part of that is on the manufacturer as well. You're not willing to commit to the player. So it's not just solely against the player as well here. I would like to.
So, given the opportunity, put yourself in their shoes. If somebody offered you a better deal, would you not take it?
Oh no, for
even
sure.
A year in.
That's why I totally understand it. Yeah, that's why I understand it. I hate to see that the look of it. Is all I'm saying. Is like when you're constantly bouncing around, it feels like there's no commitment to anything other than the pocketbook. You know what I mean? I understand it.
Yeah, but.
And I would
like you just said, that's not always the case.
No, it's not. It's not at all. But I do hope that he's able, or one of the manufacturers is able to give him what he deserves. He's definitely in the top 5 name-wise for disc golf. You know,
for sure.
But that is kind of out there. But yeah, Parker Welk lands at DD. Mason Ford signs with Meridian Discs.
Meridian.
If you haven't heard of them,
which is cool.
You can check them out. They have a startup, basically, a small line, couple discs out.
Mm-hmm.
And then talking about how we were talking about Prodigy is right now, their core team is only down to 3 players right now. So you have all these, and again, this all comes back to size of the business. Like they aren't one of those top, you know. Hopefully Will can switch that and turn them into a big name again back in disc golf. They were a top, I'd say 3 back in the day. But they're definitely not up there right now. So hopefully that can change for them. Right now, their 3 core team players are Chantal Budinsky, Luke Humphreys, and Manabu Kajiyama. So hopefully they can grow on that. Hopefully that whether it's, like you said, new talent that they can help grow and build on, or maybe they're saving up a year or 2 to make a big name purchase or something, you know, down the road. Maybe that's something they're looking at. But
just building up that new talent or something.
Yeah.
You know what? Come to think of it, there is a way that you out there, the viewer, if you're on YouTube, can help grow something too. And that's our show by clicking subscribe.
Please do
it. We'd appreciate it.
Yes. We're so close.
So close to a big giveaway. It's going to be awesome. Lots of stuff to give away.
There will be multiple winners. So just saying, there's going to be multiple winners. All right, so we've still got some bigger names to discuss. Not necessarily manufacturer-wise, but product-wise. Simon Eagle recently parted ways with Grip Equipment.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, the question there is it in the contract of, okay, you're signed with MVP, you have to carry an MVP bag? Because they do have those in some contracts, right?
In some of them, yeah.
If that is in the contract, does MVP up their game on bags? Are they working on coming out with a more high-tier, high-end bag? Because Simon was on there for, 10 years? And I think Eagle was on there close to that as well. And they love those bags. So it's got to be something serious for that to be included and them to say okay.
Yeah. You know what they should check out?
What's that?
They should check out Upper Park.
Oh,
You
know what
really
they could
should.
do?
And if they do, yeah. What could they do, Nick?
They could save 15%.
How could they do that?
With disc golf or show code, with the code disc golf show. There we go.
Almost nailed it.
Almost.
It's almost like it was like an organic ad type of thing, like I'm Dr. Fife, and I recommend Upper Park.
Code disc golf show, guys. 15% off. We will hit that back up later. All right. Let's move on to the bigger manufacturers. We have a lot of news with the top two, and what we're talking about is Innova and Discraft. Innova, currently there have been some commitment, some sticking to Innova. We have Holly Finley, Greg Barsby, and Bradley Williams. They've announced that they're staying with Innova. We have a new person on the Innova team, Emily Weatherman. She joined the champion team. So shout out to Emily. If you don't know her, go check out last season's Disc Golf Pro Tour. She won an event there and had a chance to win more than one. Oh, stolen from her. So shout out to Emily Weatherman. She was not sponsored at all prior to this. So she had an open bag, and she was always looking at Innova, and she got what she wanted. So big shout out to her. Names that have left Innova.
Okay.
You have Emerson Keith.
Yes.
Joel Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Haley King.
Yep.
I didn't see her on their team roster. And Big Germ. That was the biggest kind of a left field one to hear that
the
Germ,
biggest one.
He'd been there forever. He's been all in for a long time. So I am super curious as to where he lands.
Discraft.
Hey, dude, the way things are going, man. The way things are going. On to Discraft. Chris Dickerson staying with Discraft.
Yep.
Kale Leviska leaves Prodigy, lands at Discraft. Ezra Robinson leaves Prodigy for Discraft Elite Team for 25 and 26.
Yep.
We'll move back to Discraft here in a second.
Okay.
Here's one thing I will. Yeah. Here's one thing I will say. For Discraft, with the list of ridiculously high name, top name players, are they blowing their wad? What is, like, they have so many big names on their roster.
Right.
Like, I am curious as to how they are looking at the future with this many big names. Are they just hedging their bet on, hey, one of all these guys is going to win events? You know what I mean? We have two. It's top heavy. They have a lot of big names, dude. So
maybe that's a power play move, though, if you think about it.
It definitely could
be. Like, if you shotgun blast all the top tier names, whose name is going to be out there?
Yeah.
Yours, because your players are winning, right? Because you have all of them, right?
They have so many. It's crazy. It's like so Discraft dominated right now. Moving on, the two big ones that have recently been announced. First one, Isaac Robinson. That is what we were getting out previously. The most recent video from my crush, Jonathan, is their video with Isaac Robinson and him showing up over there, and, you know, their experience with him and talking with him and all that stuff. Super funny video. But Isaac signed a 3-year contract.
3 years.
Latitude 64, $175K a year, plus royalties on signature and tour discs. From what people are saying, it probably could be around $300,000 a year after all said and done. We'll see how that goes. I don't see this as a bad fit for Isaac.
No.
You know, we'll see. We'll see. You know, he has 2 world championships with Prodigy, so can he make a third with a new manufacturer? So that'll be interesting.
Be interesting to see this year. Yeah.
And then
and the next 3 years, I guess, right?
Yeah, for the next 3 years. Let's see how much business he can bring to Latitude, as well as how much support Latitude can bring to him. You know,
right?
And then the biggest news was this morning, at 7:00 this morning, the ClimoDiscGolf.com countdown ended, and
I can just imagine this. There's Nick sitting at his computer like a Macy's commercial. Right, like open. Just, dated myself right there. Kids, ask your parents. But yeah, he informed me this morning that that it was late. The counter reached 0 for several minutes before it was updated.
How dare!
So I just want to let you know how committed he was to bringing you this story.
Whoever had that button to click, really,
right?
Really
I mean,
ruined it. Anyways,
drop the ball, really.
So the website unlocks, and you get to see what all is ClimoDiscGolf.com providing. And those things are the following.
Lots of
apparel.
Stuff.
There's apparel, obviously. It's going to be like sweatshirts, hats, polos, T-shirts right now. They're going to be available. So this is like just announcing what's coming, right? And then 3 discs were on that site. There was a putter. Currently, they're just called Prototype name. So the putter, Prototype Champ. I wonder how that came about, right? That putter is going to be $12.99. It comes in 8 different colors and a variety of weights. All of these are going to have a variety of the weights. So depending on what you like, heavy, light, they should have it. Prototype Bel Air, that is the mid-range. And that is going to be $18.99. That will be in 7 different colors. And the driver is the Prototype Skyway, also $18.99, also in 7 different colors. Not sure why the putter is the only 8 colors availability, but there's enough.
Own all 8.
And those should all be available tomorrow, February 15th. And they should be available for pre-order. I believe that's what it said.
You just said February 15th.
Did I say February 15th?
Available tomorrow, February 15th. Did I say
tomorrow? January 15th, tomorrow. Hey, Ron Burgundy, leave me alone.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we joke about me doing that.
Who wrote that in there? Who wrote that?
Who wrote that? Who could have sabotaged you?
Anyways, so tomorrow, January 15th, the countdown is on again on Climo.discgolf.com. 21 hours, 57 minutes, and 5 seconds. 4 seconds.
Right.
Anyways,
tomorrow.
Go check it out.
Which is indeed not February.
Yeah, product launch tomorrow, January 15th. You can go check out those discs, get those when they come out, and have a piece of Climo history or future or all of the above.
Right. I'll cover this next section here, Nick. Upcoming events. There are none.
Well, I mean, there are some, but there's not tour events.
No. There's no Pro Tour events.
There's none.
On to you.
None. Currently, though.
I will say, before we get into that the show, this is the first one of the new year, but we're going to be changing things up. We talked about it a little bit last show, but there'll be some new segments. The show be kind of redesigned in a way. I think we're going to step back to our roots a little bit. We'll see the outcome of said future meetings here very soon, Nick. So expect that to come maybe next show. We'll see. We'll see how things progress. But we might have a new special guest segment. So stay tuned. I'm just gonna tease it out there for you. Next show is gonna be great. Tune it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's gonna be different. I think you're gonna like it.
Currently, there's the tour down under that's happening right now. So down in Australia.
Yeah.
So there are some bigger events happening right now. Shout out to all the players that made the trip down under.
Down under disc golf.
Yep. Dude.
Experience.
Oh, Chris. We miss you, Chris. We miss you, Chris.
Dude.
Anyways.
Best apparel name.
Yes.
In the industry.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Hopefully it comes back. I'm going to have to talk to him. I'm going to call him.
All right.
I'm going to put in a word.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's an expensive collect call, though. You know?
I will message him via social media. What's going to happen? All right. So I got a couple questions for you. First question. Do you feel the tour, or a tour, whatever the size of that tour, based on manufacturer teams, would be something that the average disc golf viewer would be attracted to? So what I mean is like Innova versus Discraft versus Discmania, whatnot. Do you think that this is something, now mind you, obviously, where did I get this? Where did I hear about this? No, I heard about it from Tour Life. Okay, so Brody's brought this up a couple times where a lot of people feel that there is a team aspect because the person playing is from the manufacturer, right? But we all know golf is a one-person game. You're playing against everybody. You're not playing. You're not a team. You know, you're a coworker, I guess, if you say that, kind of. You're not a team. You're not playing as a team. Do you think there's room for some sort of a tour where it's actually team related? Because then you could have that support and cheering on your favorite manufacturer, because there are very diehard manufacturer fans out there. So do you think that that's something that's viable?
My gut feeling says no. My gut feeling says no. If you keep it kind of like the tours go nowadays. What I mean is, if you just had another like pro tour style event and it was broken down into, we have all these people and we emphasize that these people are from Innova and these people are from Discraft. And I think the struggle right now for disc golf is to get more eyeballs on it and get more average viewers. So adding yet another piece of content that is the same thing that they can kind of get throughout the year with the Pro Tour isn't going to attract necessarily more eyeballs and convert them into average viewers, in my opinion. I think that's kind of the struggles. And we see this a lot with disc golf and a lot of, you know, sports that start off and are in that growing kind of thing, is there's just too much like saturation in that market. Like too much is trying to be done and the money and the viewership isn't there yet, and then they just peter out, right? So with that said, how do I think that could be successful is if you change that up a little bit, right? Because right now you can kind of say like, you know, hey, the Pro Tour events are kind of like this. It's one company's discs versus another company's discs because the champion is this company's discs, right? They're kind of set up that way. But you could change it to be more focused that way if you change maybe the scoring and how things are done, right? So you can always have that aspect of golf. The scoring for that, for the individual, maybe stays the same. However, the teams competing have a team score, and it's really the teams trying to compete for that ultimate first place prize, right, on the podium, if you will, or making it to that podium. And the better the players do individually, the more that team score goes up, and you could have that kind of maybe a different kind of rule set or thinking around how we score that for the teams and how they gain points, right? And maybe that's a kind of a unique system that they add to it. I guess what I'm trying to get at is it has to be unique and presented in a way that's not just one more thing that we already have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I'll tell you right now, they catch the highlights because they don't have time or the desire to watch the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just true. The way it is. Right? And I don't think that there's just not enough numbers, not enough people to really give us another major thing that people are going to care about unless it gives us something that's unique. And maybe that catches on and people really love that. Great. Now you have that thing that everybody kind of wants to watch, and that's great. But if you do it in the same style of what we already have,
yeah,
you're not going to get very good turnout for it, I don't think. I could be wrong. What the hell do I know? But I could just, like, the feeling from, like, when we ask these type of questions, like, on our social media, is very strongly that way, I think. And I know it's just a small sample of the overall audience, But it's a good enough sample size that I think that's kind of going to be the thing, right?
Yeah.
Your diehard fans, yeah, they're going to watch it. Converting to more average viewers and getting more than what you have right now and growing the sport because of this thing, no, I don't think so. I think it's going to be less than your Pro Tour viewership. But
yeah, I think
we'll see.
there's two aspects here. One is the way he was kind of describing it was manufacturers put in money
Yeah.
for the tour, and then each of them, what I got from it was each of them, a certain count of each manufacturer. But the tough part there is that what about the small manufacturers that don't have that large of a field of players, right? So you're still narrowing it down. It comes down to the top 5 or whatever, right? But then at the end, right, whoever is winning, or you get points for placement, and at the end, the most points, then that money goes to the manufacturer, but it also gets kicked down to the players that were involved in that tour. The other side that, as you were discussing this, you were talking about it, made me think of is you could implement a test run with just the Disc Golf Pro Tour and just do the numbers on the side of what the current outcomes are and see what that would look like. You know what I mean? And see if it looks lopsided or not or whatnot. Get some data on it prior to actually committing to it.
I don't even think they should go down that route. I don't think that's a good litmus test for what they should do to make it different. Because you're talking about, right there, using the Pro Tour to, well, how would that work if that... No, nobody wants to see that, at least in my opinion. You need to do something different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't play the same courses that you do on the Pro Tour. You can't have the same style of event, right? We're still playing disc golf. That still needs to be there. But it needs to be different than the Pro Tour, because why wouldn't I just watch that?
Yeah.
You need to separate yourself from that. Like, you need to, like, different courses, or, hey, on this event, this is the putting round challenge, and all the best putters are coming in, swapped out, almost like a roster system like you would have, or like a lineup in like baseball, where we're switching out our players here because these are our best putter. Like, you need to do something unique like that. Make it different and exciting. It has to be like something that's really going to pull people in to watch, and another Pro Tour lookalike is not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're wasting your time and money.
That's like the All-Star event. The All-Star event is where they have those challenges of mid-range shot, distance, all that stuff.
Exactly. Do something maybe like a combined thing like that. Make it different. Don't do another tour.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there needs to be I don't know. They're trying with the Q series, so like the entry-level tour as well, but I don't like that's much more niche within niche, right? Like
way more niche, yeah. That's like the college football of the professional football, it really is.
And we're not, like you said, disc golf isn't at that point at which they can diversify that thin, because it's almost like thinning yourself out too much.
It is.
And you're, All right. I'm bringing this one back up.
All right.
Okay. You probably already read it. You're going to hear it now. Okay.
Okay.
I feel that there's a lot of discussion about how easy disc golf is getting for the pros, right? It's just too easy. It's blah, blah, blah. Let's make the circle large, circle one bigger. Let's no step putts, jump putts. Let's do this, do that. Here's an idea, and we've talked about this before, and you can poo-poo it all you want. If you don't like it, email me at nick@discgolfshow.com. I feel that there should be a limit to the number of discs a player can carry in their bag. What this does is it makes the player have to be more creative in their shot selection. So picking discs that are multi-use, or making a disc do, because here's the thing, that's what we do, right? We get in a funky position, and we got to make that disc do something that we're not usually making it do because we're not in the prime spot. Instead of having a disc for every shot, right, which is fine and dandy, but it goes from somebody who carries 18 discs to somebody who carries 30 discs, right? That's a massive difference in tools. Is that fair just because it's available to the other person? What happens when that person has a bag contract that doesn't allow them to carry 30 discs because that manufacturer of that bag doesn't create a bag big enough for them to carry that many discs? It's kind of lopsided in the fact that somebody who's has a manufacturer that is allowed to carry a bag that you can carry 40 discs in, then they have twice as many tools in their bag than somebody who's on a smaller manufacturer that, one, doesn't have as many discs in the lineup, but also now cannot carry a larger quantity of discs that are beat in at different levels, right? I'm literally coming up with all that on the spot because just thinking about this opens it up and makes me like it more. How do you feel? Does it make any sense? Whether it's enough sense to do or not? Is there any viability in the thought of having a limit to discs for the pros playing on the tour?
I'm really interested to read and hear what the viewers of the show have to say about it, because I think this is I think we're going to get a pretty mixed opinion on this one. And I don't think going one way or another is necessarily right or wrong. To me, my personal opinion is I don't really think it matters, right? Like, at the professional caliber, you can probably, for the most part, take 3 discs and get done what you want done, right? I mean, how many of those like special, videos have we seen where like pros will go out with like a putter, right? And they'll play the whole course with a putter, then get it done. Is it always the cleanest? No, because it is kind of a hindrance. Do I think that aspect would make it so much more challenging that we'd see a more engaging and entertaining game? No. Because what are you going to limit it to? 3? Okay, now we're talking. All right, that might be pretty interesting because that's pretty limiting, right? I don't think that's going to happen, though, right? You limit it down to 18. Does that really limit you? You limit it down to 10. Does it really limit you? I don't know if it would have to be a significant enough of a reduction that it would actually impact their game. And then at that point, do we really want to see that? Is that something you really want? Do you want to see players hindered and it made more difficult for the sake of it being more difficult in a kind of almost abstract way? Like, okay, golfers, you only get 1 9-iron and you get you don't really see that in other places, right? Like, you have enough of your equipment that you can bring that you can play your game in pretty much any way that you want, right?
Well,
limiting it for the sake of limiting it is what it sounds like to me. It's kind of like does it matter? Probably not. Unless again, we're talking about an extreme limit. Then okay, yeah, maybe.
Well,
but
with golf, they do. They are only allowed to carry a certain amount of clubs, right?
They do, but what I'm saying is they're allowed to bring enough that it doesn't really matter, right? Like, you have enough assortment of your clubs that it's not really going to hinder you in a way that makes it better than if you could bring 85 different clubs, right? Like, it's not that much.
Yeah,
they're allowed to bring enough that it's not really a matter. Yeah, they have enough variety that it doesn't really matter for a game of golf, right?
Well,
But if they were now to say, like, you can only have 2 drivers, 2, whatever, like, you'd only have 6 clubs. Okay, well, okay, now it's different. But does that make it better?
I don't know. The only reason I bring this up is because I feel like sometimes a bad shot that would normally be punishing isn't as punishing because if you carry enough discs, you're going to have a disc that will have that flight line that you need. Obviously, depending on the amount of punishment that's involved in that lie, right? To me, like if which they're pros, right? Like you said, they should be able to throw any shot with anything. So it wouldn't be like a super slam to their abilities, but it would be an increase in seeing their creativity in how they make a shot when they don't necessarily have the ideal disc that they may want for that exact shot. So they're put in a little bit slightly more difficult situation when they know that, oh, well, you know what I should have done? I should have put this in the bag for this tournament. I should have had this disc, because if I do tend to land here, then this, it would be more of a chess game in how they approach the course, in the way and what discs they choose for that course. Now,
but again,
like I said, do I hate how things are done now? No. I like seeing them throw crazy good, right?
Even with that, like, position, we're still getting back to, it would have to be limiting enough to matter.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is what would that number be, though?
Like 5 or something, right?
You think it would
now you got to plan that out.
Well, because here's the thing.
I think so. Because think of, in 10 different discs, I can give myself, and I suck. I'm always in a bad position. That's how I play disc golf. That is my game, landing where I didn't want to. So within that amount of discs, just for me, like, I have a disc selected for most of the bad positions that I can be in.
Yeah.
So it would have to be less than probably 10, right? And now we're starting to really narrow it down, right?
But think about that. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
10.
Yeah.
10 should be enough.
Should be. I would think.
If it's enough for an AM, it should be enough for a pro.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think.
But then, if it's 10, is that enough to be? Should it be 5 now that they're a pro? Well, should amateurs be allowed to have 10, and then maybe we could go, intermediate players. You could have 8, and then maybe professional on the tour. You can only have 5. Like,
well, if you think about it, think about this.
Is this needed?
If you have a putter, mid-range, fairway driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
The options are stable, understable, overstable. So 3 per mold.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That comes out to 12. Minus putters, really, you don't necessarily need. Maybe you need a driving putter,
Sure.
Here's the thing. The putting putters, not even worried about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even worry about that. 1 or 2 of those, that's fine, right? But the ones that you use off tee. So that would actually still give them 12 just off the tee discs.
Sure.
But it wouldn't be that, oh, this one's just slightly more worn in, so I'm going to carry that as well. And this one's just slightly more worn in than that one. This one turns just 2 degrees more than that one, so I'll just carry 35 discs.
I mean, I think
I'm not saying it's an end-all, be-all.
No. I just think it's not, like... That's more a hindrance to the player to have to carry all those darn things. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing.
Is it really an advantage?
Them now. The caddies are carrying them now.
Is it really that much more of an advantage to have the disc that's 2 degrees more to the left? In certain situations, I would agree with you. But for disc golf, like...
For their abilities, I think it is. Because you see
maybe.
them always picking up 2 or 3... Well, not always, but there are several players that'll pick up 2 or 3 discs before they get on the tee, and they go...
I think, honestly, it would just be more of a psychological challenge at that point. Because realistically, the way between the 2 discs, what do you think's really going through their head? Right? At the end of the day, I think it's a subconscious, I'm more comfortable with this disc.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they're a little less comfortable... I mean, we could go so many different ways with this, and I could probably sit here and go back and forth about this for hours, because it's an intriguing idea that I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of.
No.
But But it's an interesting question. That's why I'd love to hear what you listeners think. Sound off in the comments below if you're listening on YouTube, or you can shoot us an email at theshow@discgolfshow.com.
Tell me how horrible.
I'd love to hear what you think.
Is. Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea. You know what else is an interesting idea, Nick?
What's that?
Saving money! And there's so many different ways that you can save money, the first of which we did talk about earlier on the show, and we promised we'd return to it, so we cannot break our promises. So here you go. Go to Upper Park Disc Golf, use the code DiscGolfShow, all one word, and save yourself 15% off of your entire purchase. If you're getting a bag and maybe a couple other items, that's a pretty good chunk of change you could save. Remember, use the code DiscGolfShow at checkout. Save yourself 15%. Because who doesn't love to save money? Also, this episode was brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports with their 2 locations, one in Orangeville, one in Rockland. Support local. If you can't support their local places here to us in those 2 places, support local. That's the message. Do it. Remember, if you'd like to reach out to us, maybe in response to that question that we asked earlier, the show at discgolfshow.com. If there's anything that you didn't like, keep Nick warm at night when he prints out your hate mail at nick@discgolfshow.com. It really means a lot to him. We don't want him sleeping cold now, do we? I hate you, Nick. An email, nick@discgolfshow.com. Send it there. If you do us a favor, hit subscribe. We're really close to that big target goal number, and we could do a fancy big old giveaway with lots of winners in there, and we need to get rid of some stuff because it's collecting a lot of space, and Nick's wife is just beside herself right now with the amount of storage space it is taking up. So actually, I don't know if that's true or not. I put words in his mouth.
Desk, and I want it gone.
It's really a Nick problem. So maybe don't subscribe. That's the message. Don't subscribe to the channel. We want him in as much pain as possible. At least I do. I think that pretty much does it. Remember, hit the like button if you like the show, or dislike if you didn't like it. That's fine too. Remember, in disc golf, as in life, aim high and let it fly. See you later.